Second half of this community of practice. We will be working till 1 o'clock today. For the next hour, it's time to have a participation showcase. So some of the most successful projects across the county are going to come and present. I've given them each 20 minutes, and if they could think about the person going last, they want their full 20 minutes if we could kind of share it out. I'm really pleased to start off with to be able to welcome from the Free Your Mind project, which is part of the Integrated Prevention and Earliest Help Service run by West Sussex County Council, 3 colleagues, Pandora Ellis, Claire Took and Chloe. So welcome. Hello.
Fingers crossed, folks.
Everybody, let's get into it. Get stoned, get started, get started, get started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
Okay, hello, and thank you so much for letting us come and talk to you today about our favourite youth-led innovation. First of all, I'm going to introduce myself, Pandora Ellis, and I'm going to pass the mic down the line.
Hello, I'm Chloe Willis and I work with Claire in the voice participation group as a care leaver.
Hello, sorry, a bit loud. Hi, my name's Claire Took, and I'm a youth worker, and I work in the voice and participation team.
Thank you. Do you want to have a seat and get comfy? Okay, so what we're going to talk about is our Free Your Mind campaign, which is, as I said, something we're really proud of because the whole thing is totally youth initiated, and every single decision that happens with that group has got young people's deep commitment and passion and drive in the whole project. But before we do that, we've got to go back in time a little bit. So, swirly music. West Sussex County Council have got a really, really long, healthy commitment to young people's participation. And in fact, in the year 2000, we set up the Youth Cabinet and also joined UK Youth Parliament. And somehow I've gotten away with being involved in it for all that time. So 17 years of participation. Woohoo! So somewhere in this group, there's a young person called Kate Moore, Youth MP. But we'll hear a bit more about Kate later, okay? So just park that thought. So alongside the kind of universal voice representation work that we do in the Youth Cabinet and UK Youth Parliament, we have groups that we support, including Young Parents' Voice, work with youth offenders to make sure that they have a voice. That's what the trainer is there. That was where they designed 10 things I want from my YOS worker by putting themselves in the shoes of some of the other young people that they were representing. We also have a SEND participation worker. Where's Gronya? Yay, shout out for Rachel Sadler, our SEND participation worker, who's really doing a lot of very current work on making sure that young people with SEND not only have a voice, but they're really achieving things. So they're plugging into the Duke of Edinburgh Award. And of course we have our Care Leavers Forum and our Children in Care Council, who are groups of young people that really, they're not just sort of coming together for social things, they're getting to work. So they're helping shape services in the County Council. They're working with the Corporate Parenting Panel, for example, getting a pledge together for young people in care. They also manage their own social media functions. So they're our voice for young people who are looked after. And also, we're doing some recent work with unaccompanied asylum seekers, bringing groups of individuals together and using things like cooking and sharing food and talking about traditions to get people feeling safe so that they can have a say and think about what their needs are and what services they may want to influence. And I think we're quite good at doing a lot of participation celebration because you need to make it visible. You've got to get it really high profile so that young people are, their achievements are recognised, but it puts it firmly up the agenda of decision makers and budget holders. So this is our EPIC Award for looked after young people. I think 200 looked after young people came to this with their families, their carers, and it was planned and delivered completely by Children Care Council, and they made it a Willy Wonka theme. Okay, back to Kate Moore. Kate Moore, passionate member of UK Youth Parliament. Here you can see her in the House of Commons on the convention that they have every year, lobbying for same-sex marriage. At the same time, Kate was going through some real issues around her transgender transformation and found that she wasn't able to access services to help her with her mental health. It wasn't easy to find the information, they weren't accessible, and what they gave wasn't quite doing what she needed. So this galvanised Kate, and Kate then set up Free Your Mind within the Youth Cabinet. Their starting point was to get the ear of our politicians and also funders. And here you have Kate, who is now Kai Moore, who brought together different structures of young people to add influence to the work that they were doing. So Kai lobbied with district youth councils and other young people who had experienced mental health issues and had accessed services, and they planned the Free Your Mind Convention in 2013. And these are the three main aims: to raise awareness, challenge stigma, but also to work with service providers so that they're really learning together on what is needed for young people. So this group were really super aware that it's great to have a voice, it's great to participate, but you do need that adult lens if you're going to actually affect change. Don't enter. So here you go. Free Your Mind Convention. As I say, every single element of this was planned, shaped, delivered by young people, for young people and professionals as well. So they did everything from setting up Eventbrite, planning the workshops, making sure that they had the right professionals in place, managing all the publicity, pre and post-event, and also securing funding so that they had some corporate goodies, because young people like freebies. They also brought in really inspirational young people who are plugged into the national agenda. So we've got young people who were advocates for the NHS Youth Forum, and in fact they went to one of their national events. Saskia is in the audience. You helped to deliver that plan and deliver? Yeah. That was an amazing event. So what the young people did, they went there, researched how that was put together, and we nicked a lot of their ideas because it was so fantastic, because creativity was at the heart of that, as well as bringing those professionals together with the young people so that they could work together. And here you've got some of the workshops in action, as you can see, facilitated by young people, very creative, bringing public health here onto the table so that they can hear from young people, and then co-design services that young people actually want. And there you can see the freebies. Here you can see some of the ideas, Saskia, that we stole from you, making art a medium so that young people felt safe in this convention and were able to really kind of unpick their needs using sculpture, using really participative workshops. Something's unplugged. That's it. We're okay. Okay. And after the conference, everything the young people said through those workshops was processed, and that informed our commissioners on things that young people need, like walk and talk therapy, equine therapy, canine therapy. And that has informed and been built into our YES service, the Youth Emotional Support Service. We went further. Young people were the interview panel. There was only one interview panel, and that was as part of the procurement. So I don't know if any people in this room were actually interviewed by Free Your Mind. Put your hands up if you are. None of you. Okay. Well, they were very scary. From this work, Kai Moore got a Deputy Prime Minister's Mental Health Hero Award. So, as Warren said, it's all about keeping it high profile, making it national, making it really highly visible. And then locally, the group deliver at World Mental Health Day. And then back to national, they got a Positive for Youth Award for community impact. And the prize for that was to work with a national film company to make their own film. You can see that everything the young people do has got a really high presence through our social media and Your Space website. So we've got really good records of their achievement. And I'm going to show you their film, hopefully. It says no. Okay, so I'm not going to show you that film unless Steve runs up to the stage. Maybe we'll save that for later. Yes, I'm hearing. Okay, so then we missed the thunderclap, which is my hand over to Claire. So we'll skip that and go on to Claire's section.
Thank you, Nora. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about how we have been strengthening that voice, really, and what else we've been doing. So we've done a piece of work, actually we did something last week, and we did a piece of work called Young Inspectors, which is where we had a group of young people who went to inspect a service. Really straightforward pack to work through with young people, 4 observations, and that some of the kind of the questions were, do I feel safe here? Does this service meet my needs? So we've done some a really meaningful piece of work, if you ask me, in terms of how that can really, really improve services for young people. Also, I'll tell you what else happens, is consultations. So we get inundated with consultations from loads of different services, not only to talk to Free Your Mind and see what they think, but also to the CICC, so the Children in Care Council, and some of our other groups. But they're fantastic, because actually what that does is really influence and really capture that feedback from young people, which is great, which then linking in with more services. So it really is about raising the profile. And also what we do is we do other areas of work. So I'm just going to bring in Chloe now at this point, because I want her to tell you a little bit about what she does and how this links in. So I'm going to pass you over, and we're kind of going to ask some questions back and forth, so go with it if that's all right. So yeah, I'll just pass it over to Chloe.
Hi, I'm Chloe, and I work with the Care Leavers Forum, and we do lots of different stuff about voice for care leavers and young people in care. We do training such as Total Respect, which is really kind of getting the young person's perspective on what it's like to go through care, and we kind of train like foster carers, social workers, and residential workers, that's one. And we actually, the last one we did, we put in some mental health questions and things around it, and we got some really good feedback from the professionals saying that they felt they weren't trained enough and equipped enough to help support their young people as much as they should be able to. So we're really hoping to kind of embed that into training.
Yeah, no, and that's fab. I mean, Chloe leads that, by the way. She runs that training. I just go along for the snacks. That really is that piece of work. We do that 4 times a year, and that really is embedding how important voice is in terms of some of those services that young people experience. And it really does take them on the journey, doesn't it, in terms of what it might feel like, which is fab. Also, Chloe, you were picked to do something else. What was that?
We went to a care leavers benchmarking forum in Woking where there was Young Minds, and they were running a workshop, and I spoke to them about the training I designed for the mental health, and they turned around to me and said, would I like to be a young person champion in their Young Minds? So I went up to London, and we met with loads of different people, parents who have children in CAMS, other young people, and we're really working around doing a big kind of piece of training with different services across the country, basically.
So really feeding into national voice and how we can change those services, which is fab. Also, she's really busy, by the way. Can you tell us a little bit about something that you have been working on for quite some time, and how that's where we're at with that?
Basically, I wanted to do a mental health campaign or social action project, and I went back home and designed some training for professionals, PAs, public sector workers, so like police, paramedics and A&E staff, because I felt they didn't really have enough understanding of mental health sometimes. They kind of didn't really know how to cope with it when it came to crisis times with young people and things. And we're trying to work on putting some training in for that with them. Hopefully we can find some people today who might be able to help with that. So
absolutely, and it's about, because Chloe's idea was around training professionals so that they can have more of an understanding when they come across young people with mental health problems. That was kind of your idea, wasn't it, as to what you want to progress. So we are looking at how we can. So we've tested that out with Total Respect, which is something that we're already running, and so far so good. But we also want to take that a bit further, which is great. So thank you. Okay, so just taking you on to the next slide. How do we work? How do we work? So I don't know whether anyone's seen this, but this is our governance framework, which sounds all very posh and but anyway, it's kind of similar to the Heart's ladder of participation I noticed you've got in the background, but ours is more of a continuum. And this is kind of, it talks through a bit of a process as to where you kind of start with a group about being consulted. Then it's about representing, decision making, implementing and initiating. So that's the kind of the framework that we work to in West Sussex. So also something that also I'm really kind of passionate about is, like, we do all this work with young people, yeah, like, so what's the point? Why are we doing it? And I think it's really important that we're looking at what the impact it makes on services. So it's kind of like, so what? So you've done this bit of work, we've done, like, what happens next? How are we measuring that impact? Because it's all about outcomes and making sure that those outcomes are better for young people. And also linking in with our colleagues to ensure that that does happen. So that's about the partnerships. Also, it's about trying to make something more exciting than what it is. I mean that in the nicest possible way, but trying to make something just making it being quite creative. And trying to think outside the box a little bit and how we do things in a way that young people understand and can engage with. Okay, so just going to talk you through really some of the challenges that we've had in West Sussex. So for those of you who don't know, we've been through a complete restructure again. I think this is about the 4th time. We're now called IPI. Which is Early Integrated Prevention Help Service. So that's been quite disruptive-ish, or not really, to some of our groups. We've just had a few staffing changes. So that's potentially one of our challenges that we face. Also, we've come across this a little bit as well, in terms of adult gatekeepers. I don't know whether you kind of understand what I mean by that phrase, but just in terms of they could get more young people involved. They could encourage, some of those adults could encourage young people to get involved a little bit more. So we have come across that. As I said earlier, we get inundated, and I mean inundated, with consultations from people, from services, from organisations that want to talk to young people. And it's really just getting that balance right, which is quite difficult sometimes, because we could just do all those consultations with young people, but that's not always what it's about, is it?